All right, on the line with us, we have ECW original Pitbull #1 Gary Wolf. Gary, of course, you were the, you were one of the trainers of Trent. What do you think Trent wants his fans to remember most about him?
You gotta remember, I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but I knew Trent, Billy, Johnny. I mean, so all them guys, I knew them since they were like 13 years old. So, I mean, I helped train Trent. Bret Hart took him under his wing, and he liked him a lot. I mean, and for Bret to, like, say, come and train my son, I mean, what does that tell you, you know? And Trent always, I don't care what condition he was in, even though it wasn't up to my standards, sometimes his condition wasn't good, but he would still give 150% in the ring every single time.
So you would say that his determination and his skills in the ring would probably be the most that sticks out to you?
That, and he's one of the first wrestlers I've ever seen actually go around the ring and get dollar bills from girls, which I've never seen that before. And he'd actually come back to the dressing room with more money in his pocket from the fans than from what he was getting paid from the promoter. So
that's awesome. Of course, Trent, the originator of the dollar bill gimmick. Now, if you were to write a book about Trent's life, what would the title be?
Acid. Just Acid, Trent Acid. I mean, just saying the name, you know what you're getting. I mean, it's just hard for me because, like I said, I've known him a long time, and he only died at 29 years old, and he was very young. And, I'm still, like, coming off of the view and the funeral, still in shock because this is the second go-around for me. I had to bury my partner, and now I buried one of my students who actually was, I mean, Trent was actually one of my trainers at my wrestling school. So when I lived in Australia for 6 months, I mean, I was able to trust Trent and Billy and Kashmir to run the school for me because me and my partner were in Australia for 6 months. So, I mean, we were, and he trained, I mean, he wasn't like, he wasn't a stingy person or I'm trying to think of the word, I mean, he would go out of his way for people. I mean, sometimes you'd have, like, young kids, like 14, 15, 16, just to get them off the streets. Their parents would send them to the wrestling school. And Trent would put the time in and train them. I mean, which most people wouldn't have the patience to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, my co-host Missionary has a couple questions. So, Missionary, go ahead.
Hey, Gary. One of the questions I had actually was, Trent Acid's crowning achievement or his crowning moment in his career, in your opinion.
Well, I don't know if I think you cut off at the end of it, but.
I'm sorry. I said, what is Trent Acid's crowning achievement or moment in his career, in your opinion? Well,
what made me very proud of my students was when they made it to Japan. Because most guys out there have never even been to Japan, not only overseas, but to go fight in Corrigan Hall and have my students sign their names on the wall underneath me and my partner's name. When I went back in 2001 and I seen all my students that have been there, from White Peter to Kashmir to Trent, and other guys, they all signed their name underneath us because they came from the Animal House. And I was very proud about that, because at least, some of my students did make it to Japan. We may not have made it to WWF. I mean, they've done work for them, but what me and my partner's goal was always to go overseas and go to another continent, country and wrestle and be superstars in another country besides America,
Yeah.
And over there, they loved him. I mean, he was over, man. He was over.
Who was Trent Acid's heroes and inspirations in life?
I'm sure Bret Hart was one of them. Like I said, he worked. He tried to have his own style, which I liked. You know, like some wrestlers go out there and they try to like mimic another wrestler, where Trent was himself. You know, I mean, you get Trent Acid, you got Trent Acid. That's it, period.
What was Trent's biggest goal in life?
I remember I was in Australia, and I remember at the time I was married, and my ex-wife had called me and said, Trent made it to Japan. His aunt just came by and was, you know, because she was worried because he's never been there before. And like they wanted to ask me questions, but at the time I was overseas anyway. So, but it made me really happy knowing that he got to go to Japan, he got to travel the world, and, you know, he got to do stuff that other people wouldn't have done, you know?
Right. And obviously to you, Gary, what's the one thing about Trent Acid you personally will miss?
Oh, his laugh. I mean, it was always funny. I mean, like, I remember one